Hi lovelies, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chisom, and on this channel I share sewing DIY, sewing tricks and tips. On today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you on how I made this beautiful short A-line dress. If this is something you would like to see, please keep on watching and let's get right into the video. So I'm going to be drafting the pattern first, and I have my cutting tools here. I already have my pattern paper folded into two, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a starting line, which is also going to serve as my shoulder line. And that is what I am creating here. My starting line is going to be 1 inch down, and after marking that, I'm going to connect it into a straight line. So after drawing your line, you can go ahead and label as shoulder line SL. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to go down by 11 inches, which is my bust line. I'm also going to mark my front waistline, which is 17 inches. And from the waistline, I'm going to go down by 8 inches, which is going to be my hip line. And I will also connect it into a straight line. So because of the length of my pattern paper, I'm not going to mark the desired length of my dress. But while cutting the skirt, I'm going to extend it to the length that I want. So yes. So what I'm doing now is connecting those lines, those dots that I've created. I'm connecting them into a straight line, and then you can go ahead and label it. I didn't remember to label mine as I was marking it, but at some point I remembered and I went ahead to label it. So you can label yours as you are drawing your lines. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my shoulder width. My shoulder width is 7 inches, but because I'm adding a dart to the neckline of this dress, I'm going to add extra 2 inches to my shoulder width, making it 9 inches. So I'm going to mark that on my shoulder line. So right now I'm going to go ahead and mark my neckline. So I'm using 2.5 inches for the neck width, and then for the length I'm also marking 2.5 inches. And then after that I'm going to use my curve ruler and then connect it. So from the shoulder line where I marked my shoulder width, I'm going to come down by 1 inch to create the shoulder slant, and then I'm going to connect it to the edge of that neckline. If you've watched my video on how to draft a basic bodice, I believe you understand this better. From the shoulder slant, I'm going to go down by 7.1 inches, which is half of my armhole, also known as the chest line. So I'm going to also connect that and then label it as my chest line. From the shoulder slant, I'm going to draw a straight line connecting to the chest line. And on the chest line, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. But first of all, I'm going to find the midpoint on that line, which is going to be my armhole. So and then on that midpoint, I'm going to go in by 0.5 inches. And then I'll connect it with my curve ruler, that is creating my armhole. I'll connect it like so. And then I'll go ahead to add my 2 inches, which is going to be for the sewing allowance, and then connect it like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my nipple to nipple measurement. My nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches. I'll mark that on the bust line, on the chest line, on the waistline, and also the hip line. So I just remembered to label it now, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm going to connect that into a straight line. That is my nipple to nipple measurement, which I'm marking on the chest line, the bust line, the waistline, and also the hip line. And on the chest line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So on the waistline, to draw the dart leg, I went in side by side 0.5 inch on the sides, and that is what I'm connecting here to create our darts for our upper bodice. So for the neck dart, I am measuring what I have on my neckline, and what I have there is about 4 inches, and then I'm creating a midpoint there. And from that midpoint, I am going to go side on the sides. I'm going to add 0.5 inches on that on the sides, and then I'll go down by 4 inches. This is to create the dart on the neckline. So, and I'm going to go ahead and connect it now. So from the midpoint of the armhole, I'm going to connect it to the waist dart using my curved ruler, and this is going to be the princess dart. So using my curved ruler, I'm trying to make that area curved so that it doesn't come out pointy. I'm trying to blend in that area. So after that, still on that midpoint, I'm going to go up by 0.5 inches. This is to avoid gaping while I am joining my dart, and then I'm going to connect that to the armhole. I'm going to blend it into the armhole. Then on my waistline, I'm marking my waist circumference divided by 4. Then adding 1 inch for that dart, and then extra 2 inches for the sewing allowance. And then I'm going to connect it like so. So, and that is it for the upper bodies. Now I'm going to work for the skirt area. So for the shoulder, I'm adding extra 0.5 inches so that is going to be the allowance to join the shoulders. If you don't remember to add it on the pattern paper, remember to add it while cutting your fabric. So that is it for the upper bodies. So to work on the skirt part, on my hip line, I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4. I'm going to mark that on my hip line. So after, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches, and from that hip line I'm going to go up by 1 inch, and then I'll connect that from the waistline to the hip. This is also me creating the dart leg for the hip, for the skirt parts. And then using my curve ruler, I'll connect from this waistline to the hip line. So my hip circumference is 10.2, and then I'll add extra 2 inches for the sewing allowance, and then I'll use my curve ruler to connect it. So while cutting on your fabric, at the length of your skirts, the skirt part of this dress, you are going to add extra 4 inches depending on how wide you want your skirt to be. You can add 4 to 5, 6, even to 8 inches depending on how wide you want your skirt to be. I didn't do that here because the paper is short. But while I was cutting my fabric, I added extra 4 inches to make the skirt wide. So you can pay attention and see the way I am cutting these upper bodies. Don't think that my head's on straight. Gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great. But I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. So this is our upper bodies. I'm going to use this to cut the fabric, and while cutting the fabric, on those areas which I slashed, I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches. So now to the back, bodies, I'm going to do a normal bodice here. I'm not going to add a dart to the neckline. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. The only difference is that I'm adding 2 inches for the zipper allowance, and that is exactly what I am doing here. So after doing that, I'm going to connect it into a straight line. So I'm going to mark my bust line, my waistline. For this, the back part, I am not drafting a skirt pattern. So I'm going to use the front pattern to, when I'm cutting out on the fabric, I'm going to use the front pattern. The only difference is just that I will add my 2 inches for the zipper allowance while cutting the back pattern for the skirt. So on this, I'm marking my neckline. For this neckline, for the back neckline, I use 2 inches for the width and then 1.5 inches for the length of the neckline. And then I'm going to connect that in with my curved ruler. And then remember to place your tape on that line. Don't add the 2 inches for the zipper allowance. I'm supposed to fold this paper so that it doesn't confuse you. So I'm marking my shoulder width, which is 7 inches. Go down by 1 inches for the shoulder slant, and there I'm going to connect it like so. So from there, I'm going to mark my armhole divided by 2 on my chest line, and then I'll connect that line like so, and also connect it into a straight line horizontally. So, and I went ahead to label them. So the next is to find the midpoint on my armhole so that I can create my armhole. So because this is a back pattern, I am not going to go in by 0.5 inches like I did for the front pattern. So here I am just adding my measurements. And then I'm connecting my armhole with my curved ruler. And then on the waistline, I'm also going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement, adding 0.5 inch on the sides. Then for this back, that I am going all the way to the chest line. Unlike the first pattern, unlike the front pattern where I came down by 1 inch on the chest line, I am not coming down on this one. I'm just going to mark it like so, and then I'm connecting all my measurements, and this is it for our back pattern. So to work on the zipper area, I find the midpoint at that waist area, and then I'll connect it like so, like you see me doing. This is to avoid budging at the back of our zip after fixing our zipper. And then on the waistline, I'm going to come up by 0.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect it like so in a slanty form. This is what I like to do anytime I'm making a dress to avoid the zip, bulging or pushing out at the back. So that is it for our back pattern, and then I'm going to cutting out already. So after doing this, I'm just going to place this on my fabric, and then I'll cut it.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly, I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight. Gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.
So I've gone ahead to cut the fabric and also cut out the lining. So for the skirt lining, I made sure to cut it 1.5 inches shorter than the main fabric. This is me notching the that area. So like you can see, the lining is shorter than the main fabric, is 1.5 inches shorter than the main fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and join this. So for the upper part, I am joining the darts for the neckline, and after joining the darts, I'm also going to go ahead and join the princess darts, both the center, front, and the sides.
Kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. 'Cause there's so many.
So these are the pockets which I am going to be adding to the front pattern of my skirt. So the length is 5 inches and the width is 6 inches. So I'm going to turn it to the wrong side and then join the sides, then iron it and then go ahead to attach it to my skirts. So this is it. For the skirts, I've already attached the pocket. So looking at the neckline, you see that it is deeper than what I earlier did on the pattern paper, and that's because I changed my mind. I didn't want it to be exactly as it is in that picture. I wanted my neckline to be deeper. So I've joined the upper part to the lower parts, and I'm going to go ahead to join the shoulders now. To join my shoulders, I'm just going to align the lining to lining and the main fabric to main fabric, and then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and then go ahead to join it. So after joining it, I also join the sides. So this is me shaping my armhole area. So I'm going to cut out all the excesses on the armhole, cutting out all the excess fabric on the armhole and shaping it to what I desire. So after doing that, next thing I'm going to do is to measure what I have on my armhole.
Meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate.
So I'm going to place my tape there and then measure what I have there. So after measuring, what I had got there was 9 inches. So that is what I'm going to use to cut my sleeve. The sleeve for this is a cap sleeve. So if you don't know how to make a cap sleeve, this is how to do it. So after folding my piece of fabric I'm going to go ahead and find the midpoint by just folding it into two like this. So when I find the midpoint, I'm going to make a dot there or just draw a straight line to signify that that is the midpoint. Then from that midpoint, I'm going to mark 9 inches by the side. Remember 9 inches was what I measured for my armhole, so I'm going to mark 9 inches on both sides. So for the length of my sleeve, I went in by 4.5 inches. This is optional. Yours must not be 4.5 inches. You can make it 3 inches. You can even make it more than 4.5 inches. It's actually 4 inches. Then the remaining 0.5 inches is for joining the sleeves. So and after that, I'm just going to connect it. So after that, I'm just going to connect it into a cuff like this. And that is it for our cap sleeve. So after that, I'm just cutting it out, and then after cutting this out, I'm going to bring another piece of fabric, place this to cut out my second sleeves.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly, I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life.
So to attach my sleeve, I had to open the sides which I've joined earlier, because I won't be able to attach the sleeve without opening it up. So after that, I'm just going to place it on the armhole like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and join my sleeves. So and that is it for cutting and sewing of this beautiful dress. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to get notified anytime we post a new video. I would also want to see your comments. If there is anything you don't understand of this video, please put it under the comment section and I will clarify you on that. Thank you so much for watching. See you on my next video. Bye.